This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Here's part 2 of... You're listening to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while wondering about dental hygienists and making lemons out of lemonade.
Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Hey HBs, we're back with part 2. And remember, this Friday, Sabrina and I are doing a St. Vincent-themed catch-up. You get ridiculous stories and the St. Vincent things we've been doing for ourselves. That's on Patreon and our Apple Podcast subscription. Just a quick note about today's episode, a little housekeeping, if you will. For a few minutes near the end of the episode, my audio gets inexplicably scratchy. We didn't experience it live during the recording, and the glitch goes away on its own, but there wasn't much I could do to mitigate it while I was editing. I did as much as possible, but I am sorry for the audio quality in that small section, and I hope you'll bear with me. All right, yesterday we met Poppy and Dean, the chaotic wedding planner and grumpy lawyer who, although being opposites, bond over an animal duo who also stole Sabrina's heart. When we left off yesterday, Poppy had just confronted Dean about his Am I the Asshole post that talked about all her most annoying qualities. Now we're days out from the wedding. Here's part 2 of our recap of The Grump Next Door by Kendall Ryan. Here we go.
My favorite is Goats Are People Too, who says, George did nothing wrong. Team goat.
I mean, in his defense, the goat was just being a goat.
Yeah. And so it's basically, he is now in the office doing all of these things, and he's also having all of these back and forths with Poppy that are kind of, like, nothing has really changed. It's the same vibe between their interactions at this point. And then Ivy and Mason just show up early. Because they
that sounds like
are
a
too
good
excited.
Idea.
Sure. I don't agree with that in this instance, at least not for the sake of Poppy, who is desperately hanging on by her toenails.
No, but it might make it so that Ivy stops George from turning a beautiful lawn into just a mud pit.
No. Ivy pretty much exclusively is here in this book on page to get married and throw hints that Poppy is perfect for Dean and they should be together forever.
Okay. All right. I mean, fair.
Mason is there as her lovable sidekick. So Ivy shows up early. Everything is kind of chaotic. And they're like, okay, well, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And then she gets invited to dinner that night because Ivy cooks food, or like at some point in the next, Ivy invites her to dinner. Dean is also going to be cooking. He's making risotto, and we have the cutest scene of him like cooking risotto very carefully, and she's just like watching, like, look at that sexy man, and then the most awkward, uncomfortable dinner of our lives while she's eating and complimenting him on the risotto, but at the same time everybody at the table is like, so Dean, tell us about that heart-wrenching devastating devastation that
no.
happened to you in your life? Why are you still single after 3 years
Oh
after
my
the woman
God.
who broke your heart? And also, this is another whimsy logistics thing because I think her name changed throughout the book.
No.
Because, like,
What?
so one of the things that happened a couple of times in this book is something would happen and then like 3 pages later, or not even, like a page later, I don't know if I just have never experienced conversation. Like, I don't have a frame of reference for a conversation going like this, but something would objectively happen on page. We would witness it happen. And then it's like it never happened. What it felt like, and maybe it's this kind of hazy first person present, unreliable narrator style thing, which is a choice. I've read that in books before. But it was a little bit, it threw me off a little bit because there were quite a few moments where I was reading the book and I was like, did you forget to delete half a page of things? Because it feels like you were going one direction and then decided not to do that and wanted to delete it and then go in a different direction.
Yeah.
Which was kind of the vibe I kept getting.
Okay.
Anyway, but there's a lot of that in this dinner thing. It's one of the first times that I really clocked it because like something would happen and it was like there was no segue, there was no like switch or whatever. It was just like a hard jump to something in this conversation and I was like, yeah, that's not how people talk.
Sure.
To one another.
Right.
That's jarring a little bit, but that's okay. Everything's fine. So they're going through this and he is basically like, fuck off.
Okay.
Like,
yeah. I don't want to share that right now. That's none of anybody's business.
None of you. Exactly.
Stop being a dick nose.
So they're in the middle of dinner because Mason was like, hey, we're doing dinner and like, you don't have an option. We're all having dinner together. And then they have this like cute flirty banter back and forth where she's like, look, I'll be like super unobtrusive and you won't even know. And then there's like crazy sounds outside while the tent's going up.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, he's like, starting when? And she says, I'll buy you breakfast as an apology for the wake-up call. And he says, I don't eat breakfast. And she looks positively offended. Everyone eats breakfast. I drink coffee and judge people. That's my breakfast. So like,
okay.
And she says, well, I make excellent coffee and I'm extremely judgeable. So like there's lots of like little cute things like that. And then now it's like dinner time and she is annoyed with how delicious and perfect this risotto is. And this was so cute because she says, okay, this is stupid good. And he starts to say, it's just arboreal rice. And she says, take the compliment. And he pauses and then says, thank you. And it's really cute because there is, even in the midst of all of this chaos, by the end of the book, the groundwork has definitively been laid that like they are good for each other. He takes care of her because she doesn't take care of herself. And she helps him see that it wasn't him. He is good.
And life is worth living.
He's not too much, right?
Sure.
Like, Dean is worthy just as Dean is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then vice versa. Like, she doesn't take care of herself, right? Like, her whole thing is she threw herself into wedding planning because the man that she thought she was in love with, Jake, in college, they dated. She got back from a wedding and walked in on him in her bed with her roommate.
Oh my God.
And so they have this whole conversation at one point where like it's pointed out that she got into wedding planning because making somebody else's happily ever after work is safer than chasing her own happily ever after. They are both deeply just sad little potatoes, right? And there's just a lot of figuring themselves out because again, first person present. There is no escaping the fact that we are nips deep in their brains.
Yeah.
So we have this like scene of that awkwardness where Ivy is like, so how's the single life, Dean? You tired of being single at dinner? And it's like super awkward. And so now Poppy has some awareness that something has happened, but not like a super duper knowledge of what's going on. She just has hints. And then she does, I'm just going to zippy zap us. Cece shows up because apparently she's helping at this wedding that was frauded into Poppy's waiting hands.
Sure. Yeah.
And
that she stole from her employer.
Yeah. And like, listen, this is not my personal views on whether what she did is wrong. It is simply, it's illegal, and that's a problem.
Sure.
Potentially, right?
Sure.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. It never comes back. So Cece shows up because Cece's helping in the last couple of days before the wedding. And we have a scene of her and Aunt Gloria, and Cece hanging out, talking about flowers and all of these things. And I don't know, maybe Cece's just not super on page, but as far as I'm aware, Cece basically is in this book to sleep in the guest house, because that gets mentioned several times. She's, found sleeping in the guest house. Convince Poppy that she's in love with Dean.
Sure.
And talk shit with Aunt Gloria. And do a little bit of wedding help. Which, like, when you have nobody else on your team, cool.
Yeah.
That's more than nothing.
That'll do it.
And so in this scene with the three, like all three of them are there, and they're going over these text messages because Dean texts her out of nowhere.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're talking about the text messages that he and she shared the day before, where he was trying to work and he ended up having to lock his phone in his desk, and it still didn't work. He unlocked his phone to pull it out because he is responding to text messages immediately. Like, he prompted the text message conversation. And now we are seeing her with her friend and her aunt basically analyzing this, and they're like, he's into you. Look at these response times.
Sure.
And she's like, no, he's not.
Waiting for your text.
And then she does, in fact, get a text message from him that says, Muffin broke into my house again. She's holding my office hostage, with a picture of Muffin on top of his desk. Which...
What? Is so cute.
That's flirting. And her...
That's for sure.
Yeah, and her, that's I want to talk to you, but I need an excuse to start the conversation kind of thing. Yeah. And so they're like basically convincing her that he is in fact into her, and she's like, no, that's not, he's not into me, right? Like,
come
whatever,
on.
It's fine. So she ends up confronting him because she finds out about the Reddit post.
Oh.
She finds out about it because it blows up on Reddit, which it was very, very funny to me because it was like, oh my God, it blew up. It went viral. It had like 500 comments. That's just an Am I the Asshole post.
Yeah.
That's not even close to Bob, but whatever. Somehow Cece knows about it and tells her about it. She looks into it. And then she does go and like confront him about it. And like rolls in all fucking like, how dare you? Why would you do that? And he's like, I wouldn't have done something like that. And she's like, you literally named George by name in the post. There's nobody else this could be about. What the fuck you're an asshole. And he's like, well, guess that answers the question. He doesn't actually say that. I'm saying that. But they're like going through all of this. And Cece, meanwhile, though, is like, this definitely reads like somebody who's into you. And Poppy's like, no. Go fuck yourself. He's an asshole, and I hate him. And he's like, I can explain what happened there. And she's like, yeah, okay. Why? Like, how about you explain why you told the whole internet I'm fucking annoying, Dean Whitaker? What the fuck? And he's like, I didn't say annoying. And she's like, type A, constantly smiling, always in your brain. And he's like, I'm like, it was anonymous. And she says, it was about George. How many wedding planners have goats, Dean? And it's like this whole thing.
Oh, jeez.
God bless Cece. It was so funny because he walks up and he's like, I wasn't going to evict you, obviously. And like, I'm not going to tell them what I really think. And she's like, well, apparently I can read it online. And he's like, no, you can't. And she says, what's that supposed to mean? And he says, I didn't write about how you looked that first day in that blue dress with your hair down. Didn't mention how you laugh with your whole body or how you take care of everyone but yourself or how you're the first person to make me actually want to. He stops. I didn't write any of that. I can't breathe. Dean, I wrote the safe stuff, the annoying stuff, because the real stuff would have been too much. And then Cece, God bless her, is standing right there still. And she's like, I'm just gonna go be literally anywhere but here.
Anywhere
And she just fucks off. And he's like, I'm sorry, I messed up. How do I fix it? And she's like, I don't know. Maybe don't post about me on the internet and maybe tell me the real stuff and telling Reddit the fake stuff. And he's like, the real stuff? Like how I haven't been able to focus on work all week because I keep wondering what you're doing, or how I made that pasta because the thought of you not eating made me physically angry, or how I've checked your light every night to make sure you made it back safe. Or how about the fact that you're leaving in 2 days and I can't decide if that's the best or worst thing that could ever happen to me? Why would it be the best?
Whoa.
Because maybe then I could get my damn life back. And the worst? You know why. I really don't. And they're going back and forth for a second, and then he kisses her, and this is the very first kiss of the book. We are 39% in.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
Yeah, but this is like it, essentially. Until a little bit of swoony stuff towards the end, because we're about to zippy zap essentially through the wedding into Italy, because that's the important part.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
So she kisses him back, and she's like, I'm still mad at you. And he's like, I'm an idiot. Forgive me. And she posted about him on Reddit, too, when she found out about the Reddit post. And she's like, fuck this dude in the wedding planner Reddit. It never comes back. That she posted on Reddit. It does come back because he posts on Reddit again. Like, that's like a through line throughout the thing. They post about each other in different groups and things like that. It's pretty cute. But they have this, like, really intense kiss. And it's like, oh my God, this is a lot. And we all have feelings, even though, like, they're finally acknowledging, they're saying the quiet part out loud, like, I'm into you, but also this is fucking insane because we're 5 days into a 7-day trip and then you're fucking off to Italy for a week. So, oh my God, at one point he says, Poppy, wanting you around isn't the hardship. And she asks him, then what is? And he says, knowing you're leaving. Oh,
that's so sad.
It's just a lot. And like, it's hard to, even if you and I had both read this book, it would be really hard to recap the lead up to this point, because it makes it kind of, even though it's a fast timeline, it makes sense that it got to this point because we've been in their head. It's not any single scene.
Yeah, totally.
It's just living inside of their heads that got us here, right? So then we end up with this really like the night before the wedding. Again, timelines, I don't fucking understand timelines in this book, but at some point there's a storm and this really sexually charged tent saving scene when she runs out into this storm because the tent's about to fly away in the wind, and he runs after her and then like grabs the rope with her, and they're both holding the rope, and he's like, what are you doing? No tent is worth you getting hurt. And she's like, I have to save this wedding, because he doesn't know she's fired. This is it. Like, if this doesn't go well, she's not only out of a job, because this is an influencer wedding, so like she'll get jobs from this if it goes well. Sure. So like this is the beginning of her, and she wanted to step out on her own and create her own business. She just didn't expect it to happen right now. Yeah,
that's good to know.
You know, so but this is kind of it. This is the make or break. And so they like sexually charged. They finally get the fence fixed. They work together. They get everything done, and then they're like just standing in the rain, very a la The Notebook, right? Like they're both standing in the rain, absolutely drenched, just looking at each other, and just moods and vibes. And if I recall correctly, I think George interrupts them, or maybe they just go inside because they're wet and soaking. But it doesn't fucking matter because we're rolling right into wedding times. Because basically we have the rehearsal dinner. And they all go to the rehearsal dinner, and he's watching her the entire time at the rehearsal dinner, and Gloria is there. Is that a thing? Is the aunt of the wedding planner slash the florist of a wedding usually invited to a rehearsal dinner? It's fine.
I mean, it seems like a small town question mark. I don't know.
It just, whatever. It's fine. Live your life. It's your wedding. So Gloria's there, and she fully calls Dean out. She rolls up to him and she's like, so how's my niece doing? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, well, considering you haven't stopped looking at her and you literally stopped talking when she bent over that table.
Called out.
I think that you know exactly what's going on. And he's like, she hasn't eaten. Because he's been watching her. And then he like handles like some lawyery stuff because they double booked the private room the reception was supposed to happen in, which like,
okay.
Oh boy. And she's trying to be like nice and handling all of this. Well, so she looks at him. He comes up and handles it. He's like, hey, how about you figure something out? Because this is really important. And if you don't figure it out and either like some kind of solution to this that isn't, guess what, one of you are fucked, and specifically you, the Whitakers, are fucked. I'll have all of my law firm come pour over all of your contracts on Monday to see what might have gone wrong in this situation. We're the missing pieces. And the guy's like, I'll go figure it out. And she looks at him and she's like, I was handling it. And he said, and this hit like a fucking freight train because he says, you were being polite. That's different. And she says, I don't need you to. And he says, Poppy, you've been handling everything all week. Let someone else be the asshole for once. And she's like, why do you care? And in his head, there's so many little scenes like this. I didn't highlight all of them, which is probably a good thing at this rate. Because in his head, he thinks, because you look exhausted, because you're trying so hard to keep it together, because watching you stress makes my chest feel tight in a way that I hate. It's my brother's wedding. I say instead, the lie tasting bitter. There are so many of these specifically from his point of view where like somebody asks like, why do you care? Or like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? And outwardly, he says, it's my brother's wedding. Or like, it's my job. Or things like that. But internally, in his sticky, grumpy, but smushy little brain, he's thinking about how into her he is. And he's like, and I don't know how to tell her, which comes back because boy, he fucks the donkey on that one. Because like, he has so many feelings and he doesn't know how to handle it because he thought he shut himself down after Rachel, Emily, Katie.
Bitch face.
Yeah.
Cheater McGee.
Yeah, that works. That's actually the best, Cheater McGee. And so he finds her on the porch because it's the very end of the night and he is like, where the fuck did she go? I noticed that she hadn't eaten. I just need to go take care of her. Oh boy. Emotionally stunted man children who can't say feelings. Because he comes in and he's like, let me take care of you. And she's like, no, go fuck yourself. Why do you only get to care when it's convenient? And he's like, do you think convenient? Do you think any of this is convenient? Like this. And in his head, he's thinking meeting Poppy Monroe might be the least convenient thing that's ever happened to him. And so like they're going back and forth and she's like, why are you even fucking here? And he's like, because someone should take care of you because you don't take care of yourself. And like they're both getting like all aggro and like antsy and like whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, so what? You've appointed yourself my caretaker? And he's like, I guess apparently I have. And she says, you know what your problem is? You hide. And then they basically go back and forth because she accuses him of hiding behind work, behind this whole grumpy, emotionally unavailable persona. You hide because it's easier than actually feeling something. That's rich. Coming from someone who can't stop moving long enough to, my hands curl into fists. At least I believe in something. Love, marriage, a happy ending. He says, naive. And she says, what?
Oh my God.
And he says, you're naive. You sell fairy tales to people who will be divorced in 5 years. Wow. Poppy. Because he sees that, like, he crossed a line. And she's like, no, you're right. I'm naive. A stupid little wedding planner who believes in love. At least I'm not so damn scared of feeling something that I've turned into a robot. I'm not. You are. You're terrified of wanting something, of someone mattering, of being human. And and then he says, and you're so desperate to matter to someone that you'll kill yourself making everyone else's dreams come true.
Yeah,
And she's like, screw you, and fucks off and leaves.
Yeah.
Like, it's, like I said, he really...
Yeah, I don't super blame her on that one.
He really fucks the donkey on this one. And then he goes to find her immediately afterwards, and he finds Gloria, and Gloria says something real agonizing, because she says, whatever you said to her, and he's like, well, it was true. And Gloria says, truth and cruelty often wear the same clothes. Doesn't mean you have to let them.
Oh.
And it's like, oh God, because again, he really screwed the pooch on this one. So he has now decided it's all in. It's time to go. I need to figure out what's up with her. But then they end up having this really touching scene where Muffin is having a problem because of Storm and won't settle. And so she ends up bringing him Muffin. And then they have this really domestic sit in the living room and reassure Muffin while they sit on the floor against a chair. But like nothing actually happens. But it's basically them like being at ease with one another again. And being like, it's like, we'll figure it out. It'll be okay. Like, I'm sorry that I said that.
Yeah.
You're sorry that I said that. They're vulnerable. He ends up he doesn't tell her anything about what's going on. And she ends up sharing a little bit about her history and past. So they have this like whole vulnerable moment. And it's cute. It's fine. It sets up what comes next. Because now it's very clear they are into each other. Like, it is very clear to both of them. They say the words out loud that they're into each other, but not like the I love you words, just some of the words, you know?
Okay.
And now it's wedding time and crisis time, because obviously shit goes off the rails. It is wedding time. Goat eats Ivy's Vera Wang
dress.
Oh my God, no! That's later. Oh my God, George does eat something later. No, there's a wedding chaos because it is the day before the wedding, and Mason does something, scares Muffin. Muffin shoots through, and then she ends up spilling coffee and red wine all over her wedding dress.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Why is there coffee and red wine
listen.
at the same function?
It was in the kitchen. She was just trying on the dress to make sure everything fits still, I guess. But why are you in the kitchen to do that? Listen.
Why are you in the kitchen? Is it daytime or night? Is this evening coffee or is it morning red wine? You know,
leftover of some kind. We all have questions. Also, why are you in the kitchen in your wedding dress? My love.
Yeah.
And then he basically just handles it because she's now panicking. Ivy's panicking. Poppy's panicking. But she's like, hang on. We can fix this. And so she ends up finding a dresser and she's like, I need 3 hours or like 4 hours and $600 cash. And I was like, that's not enough money to fix this.
Yeah.
That's not even close to enough money to fix this. But
like a $20,000 Vera Wang dress?
No, I was wrong. The Vera Wang is a veil that becomes an issue later.
Oh.
This is her grandmother's
balls.
vintage modified wedding
That's even
dress.
worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
and so she ends up being like, and $600 cash. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? And Dean's like, it doesn't fucking matter. Here's my credit card. And she is so touched by this. And she takes that card, she gets it all figured out. There's a local dressmaker who's like, somehow I have sewed beading to fabric before, and listen, I know that it's not what I do. You get way better and faster at things the more you do it. This wedding dressmaker basically works magic on an alternate dress that is kind of similar and beads the entire bodice in 3 hours.
Okay.
All right. And then on their way back, and then there's like another thing, and
so now she can't wear her grandmother's dress?
Don't worry,
she should
though.
dye it purple.
Don't
and wear
worry.
it some
She
other
ends
time.
up liking this dress better.
Oh,
magically.
bitch. Come on.
Listen, I don't know. It's fine. There's another part that's chaotic where the musician calls that morning and says, I have food poisoning, and cancels.
The musician?
For her walking down the aisle.
Oh, good Lord.
For her procession. And she's like, oh my God, what the fuck do I do? And Dean says, I'll handle music. You go deal with other things. This motherfucker drives to his storage locker and gets his guitar out of storage that he hasn't touched since before Cheater McGee.
Oh,
and he brings it back.
God.
And it's the day of the wedding. He walks up to his brother Mason and is like, do you still play bass? And I'm sitting here going, isn't Mason the groom?
Yeah.
What are we? Okay. All right, here we go. So they end up practicing.
They're doing a duet
all morning on the bass and guitar, and then he gets a call from the caterers who got in a car accident. The caterers who got in a car accident on the way to their house. It's apparent. I don't know. Don't listen.
It's every hijink possible.
Well, and also just listen. If you're an author, don't put very specific times in things unless you're actually doing the math of how all of this is working out. Because, like, a lot of people aren't going to notice that. Oh, boy. I clocked that shit so hard, and it does send me into a spiral of analyzing the rest of the, like, what's happening around it.
Totally.
To figure out, does this actually make sense? Because the answer in this instance is no. None of this timeline makes sense. But it's fine. He ends up saving the catering by moving all of the food into his car, and they take it to the house. And he's like, whatever you do, do not tell Poppy about any of this. And the caterer's like, but, like, isn't she the wedding planner? And he's like, yeah, and she has way too fucking much on her plate already. So do not fucking tell her anything. We handled it. It's fine. And, like, moves off. And then there's, like, the wedding, and it's beautiful. George... Oh, no. It's George 3 who eats the veil.
George 3?
In the epilogue.
What do you mean George 3?
Or maybe it's George 2. I don't know. There's a lot going on. No, it is George at their wedding, because it's only a year later. Anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. George is causing chaos, though, up until the final, when she is mad because he plays his perfect role as goat at wedding amazingly, and she's like, what the fuck happened? How fucking dare you? You were a literal wedding terrorist for the last 6 days, and now you're gonna pose on the hill at sunset so all of the guests can see you looking dashing on the fucking hill? WTF, bro. So they end up, like, wedding ends up going off without a hitch. She's super touched because he's playing a song he wrote himself, and he's like, it's yours now.
Yeah.
I'm playing it for this. And, like, it's just huge touching thing because ultimately what's happening is he's just taking care of her. He's just handling things without ever, like, he's like, you do you. I'm going to take care. Oh, God. Yeah. As a executively dysfunctional train wreck.
Yes.
Ooh, I gotta trust that you're not gonna bring this kind of shit back up to haunt me in 6 months to a year.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, like, oh my God.
But hotty totty.
Let me handle it. And then you actually do handle it. Oh my God, that's one of the sexiest things that a human being can do. So it is, like, post-reception or whatever. And everything, it went off with a lot of hitches, very minimal visibility, though, on hitches that have, happened. And it's like the entire time he's sitting there, like, she leaves in less than 24 hours, and I need to basically make a move, tell her how I feel. I need to do all of the things and yada, yada, yada. And she's going through the same thing because both of them are like, she leaves in less than 24 hours. Nothing has happened. There's all of this tension and all of these things. And, like, you can tell it's a romance because something comes from this, and they, you know what I mean? Like, because otherwise this is just two ships in the night kind of situation. Yeah. Because he asks her to dance at the wedding reception. They dance a couple of times. They get closer and closer, and he's like, I'm going to tell her tonight. And they end up having a really intimate moment at the wedding and talking about how beautiful everything went, and, like, they just have a really intimate moment, and he basically says, come with me. And she's like, where are we going? And he's like, just somewhere more quiet. And then they do kind of meander out, And then he asks for 5 minutes. She's confused, like, that's all.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's all I'm gonna ask for. But in his head, because he's a sappy little bitch on the inside, he thinks to himself, lie, I want hours, days, a lifetime to figure out how she crawled under my skin so quickly. And then he does take her away, and I fully was expecting this big emotional, like, unloading and, like, like, confession, right?
Right.
Hey, Melody, we're at 61%. So I'm looking at this going,
oh my God.
what?
What, are they going to have a kid together by...
Melody.
Are we having their first 2 children before the end?
You have no idea how on the nail you are. So we're reading this. He ends up like kissing her up against the side of her house, but his house, and I'm looking at this going 61%. What happens? What could possibly happen beyond this? And he ends up taking her inside, and they have this really emotional, vulnerable moment. They like kind of get a little touchy-feely, but they don't have sex. He just ends up holding her and like tucking her in and like taking care of her all night and feeding her and like just giving her a soft place to land in the evening. And it's just really swoony and wonderful. And then she wakes up the next morning on the couch, and she leaves for Italy at 2 p.m. Her flight leaves at 2 p.m. and there's some post-wedding brunch, and they go there and they see each other, and she's basically the vibe is, are you gonna ask me to stay? And all he says is, be careful out there.
Like, see you never?
He doesn't know what to do because he is an emotionally stunted man-child who doesn't know how to express his feelings. And she does. She fucks off to Italy. She goes to Italy for the week. Then he goes into the office.
Wow.
And his boss is like, where the fuck has your head been the last week? And he's like, I'm figuring things out, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, take the week. Just take the week. Figure out if this is really that important to you, if this is really what you want. Okay. And so he does take the week. He gets back. He hasn't thought about her, but he's also like, what do I do? And he's like, oh my God, I need to go look in the guest house. He ends up going into the guest house and he finds an earring. And he decides this is a great excuse to fly to Italy.
Stop
to
it
return
right
her earring
now.
And confess all of my feelings to her.
It could be Cece's, you dumbass.
Doesn't matter.
She slept in there so many times.
Doesn't matter. He's going to
That's
Italy.
Incredible.
Also, like, I think Cece supposedly had an Airbnb elsewhere. So, like, why are there multiple times that she's sleeping in the guest house? I don't know. It's fine. I mean, I'm a napper too.
I don't know.
I'm narcolepsy.
Look, I'm.
So he ends up going to Italy. He just fucks off to Italy. And I'm not going to lie, my first thought, Melody, was, well, what about Muffin? Who's taking care of Muffin?
What's Muffin gonna do?
What about George? Because George is still here. He's now a goat that lives here because...
Do they own the goat now? Have they had a conversation with the farmer?
No.
About anything?
At one point, somebody showed up in a truck and took George back. And then, like a horror movie, George reappeared at some point.
This is not how animal procurement works. This is not.
There is not
from start to
there
finish.
There is not a goat distribution system the same way there is a cat distribution system. Like, you don't just...
That gets mentioned in our book.
Yeah,
it's coming
the
out
cat
next
distribution.
Week. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So he ends up going there, and we see from her point of view, she's like, I'm just so fucking annoyed because I have these 1,000 thread count sheets, this beautiful house, and I'm just hanging out, drinking limoncello, and having nice old Italian grandmas give me an old Italian grandma lasagna from scratch.
Wow.
And like, I have no, but I feel lost because I fell in love with this man basically. And he said, be careful, and sent me on my way instead of,
yeah.
And then also on top of that, and this was fucking rough to read. She thinks to herself, For the first time in years, I have nowhere to be, no timeline to manage, no crisis to solve. It's supposed to feel like freedom. Instead, it feels like drowning.
Yeah, she's adrift. Yikes.
Yikes. That's a little on the nose.
Yikes.
So she's going through all of this stuff, and then he just appears. He finds out where she is. He somehow makes it to Portofino, Italy, and to her house, because he literally... The chapter opens, Melody, with she's on the terrace when I find her.
What?
Did you just walk into a villa you think might be Poppy's in
Stop
Italy
it.
when you, we learn, can't speak Italian?
Oh my god. Did he hack her phone or something to get the address? Like, what's happening over there?
Is Portofino a small, particularly small Italian town that...
I mean, unless it's a town of literally 10 people with one
especially
residence.
because apparently literally nobody in Portofino speaks English. Nobody that we see speaks English, because there's a lot of like funny hee ha moments where neither of them he doesn't speak Italian, and like,
oh my god.
So how did he find her? How did he I don't know. But so he finds her on the terrace and he clears his throat. She turns around and her first words is just Dean. And he's like, hi.
Yeah.
You left your earring.
No.
And I have never felt so unseen by a set of characters, because Poppy's just like, okay. And they go talking. My response is,
how did you find me?
How did you find
Where? What? Why? How? Okay, this is actually going to relate to something that happens in our book, too.
Okay.
And I think you're going to be much more satisfied with the reaction in the other book.
Okay, cool. So they end up like...
She's just like, cool beans?
Well, she...
Oh, God,
well, no,
I miss that earring so much.
No, I mean, her response to the earring is, like, that's a stupid fucking excuse. What are you actually doing here? Which is baffling to me, because my first question is, did you find my friends me? Did you stalk me? How do you know where I'm staying right now?
Is there a tracking app on my phone?
Yeah.
Did you hack my Gmail?
Is this suddenly...
Like, what's going on?
Is this when we find out that this is a dark stalker romance?
Yes.
But hey, it's fine. We're just going to let it go, because he basically... She's like, give me the real reason that you're here. And he's like, I'm an idiot. I'm a coward and a disaster who spent years convinced I was too smart to need what everyone else wants, too evolved and too broken, maybe. Because I sat in that house after you left and it was exactly what I wanted, right? No, it's not at all. There's no chaos. There's no goats. There's no woman reorganizing my life and making me feel things I'd specifically decided not to feel.
Aw.
By the way, what led to this is he meets up with his old friend Nate from law school, and Nate is happy and settled down, even though both of them used to, when they were younger, be like, who needs to get married? Like, nobody, like, whatever. But now Nate has it, and he's like, oh my god, I fucking want that. I said that I don't. I've always said that I don't. And it's because I didn't think that I deserved it. I didn't think I'd get it. But I want this. I want this with Poppy. I want a life with Poppy. And that's kind of the impetus for him coming to Italy. It's just that the earring is his excuse for being there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, of course.
Yeah. So he explains about like Nate and Nate's baby and Nate's family and how he wants all of these things. And he looks at her and he says, and it's really, really beautiful, because he says, I can't go back to the quiet, to the empty house, to pretending this, I gesture between us, isn't everything. So yeah, I flew to Italy with your earring because I needed an excuse, because even now, even after everything, I'm still a guy who needs a prop to say what should be simple. And she's like, what should be simple? And he's like, I want this, a shot with you, if that's something you want too. And then she basically is like, you don't get to just show up and decide that, like, tell me your feelings and that fixes everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know. And she's like, you let me leave. And he says, I know. And she says, you. And then he kisses her. And they hop right into it. they're making out, and she's like, this doesn't fix it. I'm still pissed. And he's like, good. And she's like, good. And he's like, yeah, be angry, be furious, push me off the terrace if you want, but do it tomorrow. Just don't make me leave right now. And she's like, you're really bad at this. And he says, yeah, the worst. And she's like, that earring thing was stupid. And he's like, yeah, incredibly. And it's just this back and forth of her like dropping facts and him being like, yeah, you're right. I'm
fair enough.
Yeah, you caught me. And so they end up getting together, essentially. Like, they're going to give it a shot. They are going to spend a couple of days in Italy and go through all of their stuff. And it's just really cute watching them meander Italy and fall in love. And it's not like super fade to black. Like, it's like dreamy. You know what I mean? Like, when they have sex, it's like very feelings. Like, I had to reread it twice. I was like, oh, this is the sex scene. Okay.
Yes.
And it's like somewhat referred to. Honestly, at this point, I was not worried about a sex scene. Melody, I was too busy trying to put ends together. I felt like the dude with the red string, and like, but also at the same time, I kept like starting to do that and then going, it doesn't fucking matter. I don't care. I'm just gonna whimsy it. I had a good time. I had a good time. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
So we get to see them in Portofino and like all of these things. Hey, Melody, this recommitment, they're together forever. We're so excited and happy about it.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there reading this book thinking to myself, because I had my Kindle set to tell me how many minutes left in each chapter.
Not in the book.
I'm going through...
Yeah, this is the natural ending to this book.
77%.
For the second time. No! What?
Anyway,
else could possibly happen?
The last 23%. And this is why I said I can whimsy kind of to the end, because there's just a lot of really sweet, like, thoughtful moments of them coming together, right, in Italy. And they have the scene, like, while they're meandering Italy, it's just a montage, basically, of them eating pizza, not caring.
Okay.
He's completely let go of his hard-ass personality stuff because he's so in
he's
love
no
with
longer
her.
partner at firm?
Well, we don't know yet.
How did that work out?
We haven't gotten there, because that's part of the
Jesus
23% that's left, you know?
Got it.
Like, but there's this one scene where they're like, look at us, we're just being normal. It's kind of weird that we're just, you know, people being on vacation together. And he's like, is that what we are? And she's like, I don't know. What do you think we are? Disasters. He replies immediately. Absolute disasters who can't keep their hands off each other. Romantic. I'm smiling despite the sarcasm. And then he leans over and he says, you want romantic? Fine. I think we're whatever makes you tackle me in pizza grease, whatever makes me fly to Italy with jewelry, whatever this is that makes me want to buy every goat in this country just to see you smile like that. And she's like, every goat? And he's like, don't test me. And she's like, Dean Whitaker, goat collector. And he's like,
goat collector.
It's got a nice ring to it. And like, there's just a lot of like really cute little things. But most importantly, I have a very, very serious question. And you didn't read the book, but I was gonna ask you if you clocked this and had questions, or if you knew what the fuck this sentence means.
Okay.
Because they're shopping. They're just meandering Italy. Dean immediately gravitates toward a stall displaying the tiniest bikinis I've ever seen outside of a dental hygiene convention.
What?
Okay, first, I have a couple of questions. Why were you at a dental hygiene convention?
Yeah. Number one, is she slut-shaming dental hygienists?
No, I don't think so. It's just a comment that they're the super tiny bikini. Maybe she is, but that's not how I took it. My biggest question is, why would you be wearing a bikini at a dental hygienist convention? And more questions than I know how to put into words, frankly. That sentence, when I tell you, it feels like what does that mean?
Wild.
And that was one of those moments where I was like, is there a version of this book, a draft of this book, where dental hygienist was a thing? I don't see how that would work, because everything else is so important. Why? What? It was so fucking out of left field.
That is a reference I do not have a reference for.
Okay, cool. Hey, I'm gonna reach out to listener Hey, listener,
Yeah.
HB dental hygienists out there,
Right.
or wedding planners, I guess.
Or people who've been cheated on. Look, we're
No.
casting a wide net over
Yeah,
here.
you know what? Sure. People who've been cheated on, that's probably the widest net we can cast out of wedding planner, dental hygienist, and people who've been cheated on.
Actually, let's go dental field.
Good call. Good call. Good call.
Dental field.
Maybe
whatever.
And event organizers, period.
Ooh, yes, also that.
Maybe that's why she would. Maybe she's not. I wonder if there's a version of this book, a draft of this book, where she's not specifically a wedding planner. She is just an event organizer, because in one of the epilogues, spoiler, there's more than one epilogue. In one of the epilogue, that's part of the 23% melody.
Jesus Christ, Kendall Ryan.
One of the epilogues, she does more than just weddings in Hudson Valley. She does anniversary parties and things like that. So I wonder if she's just a general event organizer. There's a draft somewhere. Or maybe it's stated somewhere in this book that she is just a general event organizer, but it came across, or she has a
history
doing dental hygiene conventions, I guess.
Specifically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if this was just something I didn't.
It sounds like she's saying that dental hygienists are the sluts of the dental field.
Just flashing puss. They're like, "Hi, girl."
Kind of seems like it.
Hey, girl.
I don't know. Okay, we gotta get done with this. Come on.
That's
what
fine.
is this 23%?
Well, so like we're essentially done, because like we end up, he goes back, he talks to his boss. His boss is like, 2 years ago, I didn't think you were ready for the job, but now that I know that you are taking
pussy juice all over your face,
now that you're asking for 3 weeks off to help your girlfriend move across country to be with you, shows that you're a real family man and interested in work-life balance. You care about work-life balance, and we want to start a new generation of lawyers. And I was like, this might be the most unrealistic part of this entire book.
Law firms are notorious for loving work-life balance.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was just very funny, because while they're in Italy, they basically have the talk, which is like, what do we do now? And he's like, well, option one, I want to do this with you. You want to do this with me. And option one is we do the safe thing. We do long distance. Or option two, we go all in. And she's like, define all in? And he's like, you move to New York, move in with me. We skip the whole dating across the country thing and just do this together for real. And then there's like 9 pages of this conversation, which was very sweet and touching and cute and adorable. Aww. And it's really the only way to like condense it down, because there's a lot of really cute quotes, whatever. So they're doing that. He goes back. He ends up getting the law firm position as partner in a law firm that apparently gives a fuck about their people's work-life balance in New York State, just outside of actually not even, he lives outside of Manhattan. This is in Manhattan. Divorce lawyer firm? No, I don't believe that in the slightest. But they end up doing that, and then we do have epilogue 1, where it's 1 year later and they're getting married.
Okay, and then a goat eats the veil.
I didn't even hop into this, but there is. I don't know if you noticed that there was a George and a George 3. George 2 happens in Italy. There's another goat.
They don't actually bring the George back, right?
A different goat shows up and starts fucking around, and I can't touch on it. But they call him George 2. And then in the last one, it is they are getting married. George is the ring bearer. Muffin is the flower dog. It's really cute. It's really funny and adorable, and lots of touching, wonderful romantic scenes and funny little tidbits. And then epilogue 2 is 5 years later, and they have a kid. And it's all from his point of view, and it's really sappy and cute and wonderful. And it does remind me of my lady love this week.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait just a moment. I'm so sorry. One quick clarification, and I know I'm the one who said that we need to mosey on here, but are you telling me that in the year between when they had the other wedding and then got married, George 1 died and they replaced it with a George 2?
No.
Or are you saying they have 2 goats named George, one of them numerical, one of them traditional?
So there's George.
Or are you...
George is the goat that we've met, the one who faced off with Muffin. Another random goat shows up in Italy while they're there. And they just decide to call it George 2.
I'm clear on that.
George, the original, is at the wedding. George 3 comes into play 5 years later when we're seeing him with his daughter. That's when George is dead. Yes.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. What's your lady love, Sabrina?
My lady love...
goats in this book.
What?
So many goats in this book.
Listen.
There's so much animal antics.
Melody, part of the reason that this was so rambly and all over the place is because the book itself is very all over the place. Like, there was no straight line that I could follow to get to the end. And, like, it's almost a good thing because even with you editing, this will probably end up being a 2-hour podcast, right?
Yeah.
But if you and I had both read that, it's almost a blessing in disguise that you and I both did not read this book, because there are things that I know for a fact that I completely skipped. And I would not have been able to let go of. And you would have latched onto that like a leech on George Washington at the end of his goddamn life. You would have been like, I never to be removed until it was dead and beaten. Like,
yes. No,
and
I
so,
hear that.
Yeah. Listen, blessing in disguise.
Excellent.
This was 2 hours instead of 4.
Amazing. Okay. What's your lady love?
I hadn't really decided what I was going to do about my lady love this week until I read The Daughter, and I met the daughter, because in epilogue 2, we see the daughter where she says, and I'm just going to read you this quote because it's what prompted this lady love, is he chases after her because he needs to change her diaper, and she says, "No diaper." And he says, "Yes, diaper." I give her my best lawyer glare, which only makes her smirk wider. "Negotiate." She pronounces it proudly, like she's discovered fire. I stop, blink. "What?" She grins, pure mischief. "Negotiate." Who taught you? I cut myself off. Stupid question. I can practically hear Poppy cackling from the bedroom. Fine. Terms? And then, like, they enter into a little toddler negotiation. There's a Tumblr post, and I will give you a link because it is entirely too much for me to read you the entire thing. But it is a Tumblr post that I have been following since, like, it's not consistent, but every time it shows up on my dash, there is a new update, and I reread the entire thing because it brings me so much fucking joy every single time. So the person who posted this originally is Katie did on June 6th of 2025. And the post is, "The problem with having a child with an attorney that has spoken to the child like an adult since birth is that she's 4 years old and she's negotiating the order in which we're going to complete tasks as a family to best suit her idea of an ideal day." She has now obtained the delightful name, or commentary name, she's known as Penny the Deals Warlock. And Penny, for almost a year, there have been updates about Penny the Deals Warlock and the deals she makes. There are some with her and her grandfather, who had no idea what he was walking into. There are some with her and her parents. And it's just so fucking funny because literally, according to this, like, there are times where she, like, looks at her father, who is a lawyer, and looks at her and she's like, she'll say something and he'll be like, no. Or the mom will be like, "No, that's not what we're doing." And she'll like pause the way it's written. She'll like pause and be like, "Okay, what about blah, 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 blah. Deal?" And they'll be like, "Okay, no, what?
I'm still the parent in this house.
And it's just very, very funny and entertaining.
Cute.
And I just love it so much because there's just a lot of verbal contracts with this child. And it is a very long post because there have been updates for the last almost year.
I love it.
And I just really love Penny the Deals Warlock. Every time she comes across my dash, it just brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, send me link right now in WhatsApp.
I will.
Yay.
Anyway, what's your lady love, Mel?
Okay, I have 2 lady loves because something you said during the episode sparked my brain for a lady love as well. So the first and most important one, the one we really, really need to focus on chiefly is maintain access to your meds and take them.
Oh.
Please.
Yeah.
HBs.
Uh-huh.
Well, you gotta. And drink your water, you know? It's for the best. Everyone will be happier and your whole body won't hurt. And it won't feel like you've got a cloud for a brain. And it'll be great, okay? And you won't confirm the objectively wrong book with your podcast.
That is in fact what happened here.
Oh my God. It was to the point where I was wondering if I should tell Michael to drive the kids to school because should I be driving?
Oh.
With this level of, I mean, it was fine, you know, but I had a dramatic moment where that crossed my mind. Okay, and then my second lady love, because you said that Ivy was an influencer who popped off when she started making her grandmother's recipes. Mm-hmm. It very quickly rabbit-holed in my brain to this lady I saw a while ago, and her handle is Wicked Confections, WICKD, there's no E, and then Confections. She is the most beautiful Black woman I've ever seen. Actually, the most beautiful woman, maybe person I've ever seen in my life. Every single post she does, she's in some sort of very fancy formal wear. And she was doing lost Black American recipes. And so each post, she would make these like historical recipes that people aren't making anymore. And a lot of them are like, you know, they're basically like, what's in the pantry? We are going to make something delicious out of it, you know? Mm-hmm. So like one example is vinegar pie. That one was very surprising to me. Mm-hmm. It ended up, I guess, coming out really well. Another one was like sweet potato butter and hoe cakes. There's a bunch of stuff like that where, yeah, she just finds these recipes and she's bringing them back.
I love that.
You know? Yeah.
I want to look at this. I want to watch this. I wonder if she's on YouTube.
I have no idea. Wicked Confections on Instagram is the information I have for you.
Wait, why did you say wicked like that?
Because there's no E before the D.
Okay. Yeah. So our co-lady love is things that are missing a vowel.
Yes, absolutely. But really, Sabrina, the level of beautiful this person is not fair.
Oh my God.
Cool. Thank you. She's not real, it seems like.
Ma'am.
Right?
Yep,
she just walks around like that every day.
Boy, I can't relate. Can't relate. I have a little thing that I've been noticing this entire recording, just boopity-boop-booping back here.
Jeez Louise. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, just go and check it out for, like, the wonder you're going to feel when you see this person's face.
YouTube.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Lost Black American recipes. Okay. Keeping a badass and
love yourself as much as you love making lemons out of lemonade. Nope.
And love yourself as much as Sabrina loves
backwards.
Muffin and every George.
Oh my God. Muffin, the CBD devouring war general in a thunder coat. Thunder shirt. Yeah, and just every variation of a coat, George. Yeah. That, you know what? I can't add on to that or make that any better because if you love yourself as much as I love them. Wow. You, boy, I wish God.
You might be glowing like Wicked Confections by the end of it. she glows. And I know a lot of that is probably like lighting and like professional like know-how or whatever, but I think
I
it's
also
also
need you
just
to know
like
that I just realized I
her.
typed into YouTube Wicked without an E, Wicked Confessions instead, and I'm just really glad that it brought me to her instead of all of the heinous shit that it could have brought me to.
Oh, yeah.
Probably somebody
Yeah.
reading Am I the Assholes off of Reddit using an AI voice generator is probably what that would be. All right, love yourself as much as you love making lemons out of lemonade, because I'm sticking to it, and how much I love Muffin and George. Bye.
Oh my God. Man, thank you for coming in clutch today. Thank you for listening. Next week, we'll be back with Shayla's Wreck, The Grump Next Door by Brighton Walsh. It's so horny, y'all. Oh, you're gonna love it. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you next week.